We've had a very special event down here today. Can you tell us why we're here and all about the war horse?
So all the people involved in the project live in Hamilton, and it evolved from an awareness that there hadn't been enough done to pay tribute to the horses that were sent overseas in the Great Wars. Only one came back from the Boer War, that was major, and 4 came back from the First World War. So we now have this wonderful statue built by Matt Goldie, the artist from Otaki, to remember those horses.
Amazing. And were you a little bit nervous today seeing the mechanical horse up against the real horses?
I was sort of wondering what the war horse's reaction was going to be, because I thought they'd think it was a real horse, which they did at first. But once the leader of our war horse march, John King, rode up on his white horse Buck, he had a calming influence on the other horses, so they pretty much accepted him.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what the group do? You were talking to me earlier about the march at Anzac.
We march on Anzac Day to pay tribute to the horses. We march down the main street of Hamilton. We come down Memorial Drive. We lay a wreath at the memorial, at the cenotaph, and we ride on back to Claudelands. That takes a whole hour. And our colour, of course, is purple, which is the colour to remember the animals that were sent overseas.
Wonderful. And yourself today, what does it mean for you to be here today?
Well, I'm a representative of the Hapu, Ngāti Wairere, who used to occupy this land all through Hamilton itself.
Fantastic. And when you met Joey today, did it feel real?
Yes, we talk to each other. Yes. So I regard he might be made of copper or whatever, but he's a sentient being still. So I'm very proud to have been represented, our side and our people, who are the original occupiers here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. And yourself, do you have any words of the show coming up? Are you excited?
Well, I think that there's really a worldwide interest in history now. And in New Zealand, a lot of this was sparked off by the centenary of the First World War. And that's why we're all here, and that's why the War Horse show has come here, because we now understand the tremendous casualties that horses gave to the world during the wars.
So I basically do most of the work. I deal with the breathing. So the horse breathes up and down as opposed to sideways in puppet wise, because you wouldn't really read it on off stage if it went sideways. So I do the breath of the horse, and that's my emotional indicator to show if he's stressed or if he's tired, to show the horse's emotion basically. And I operate the front legs as well, and that's my technical job, is to make the horse walk, obviously with Derek in behind.
And the butt, what does that entail?
Well, it's probably the hardest part. So my job is my emotional indicator. Essentially, each puppeteer has 2 big jobs: their emotional indicator and practical job. And the emotional indicator on the behind is the tail, and then my practical is the gait. So I'm in charge to make the horse walk, trot, and gallop. So making sure that it's in the right order so that the feet look like they know what they're doing.
And then the head.
So the head, which is probably the hardest part to do. No, the emotional indicator for the head is the ears, so control of the ears, because the ears on a horse signify how they're feeling, how they're going to respond to something. And the technical sort of job is to make sure its focus, its head height and focus is accurate, so that we know exactly what he's looking at, what he's seeing. And all of that combined, we can then show exactly how the horse is feeling at every stage.
And then there's the sound of the horse. Do you do this all together, or is there one person that makes the sound?
All together,
Yeah,
basically.
we work together. There's a fact. We're not sure if it's a real fact or a sort of war horse fact, but a horse's lung capacity, as far as we've been told, is 3 times the size of a human. So the fact that there's 3 of us works together in terms of being able to elongate the sounds and the breaths to sort of suit a real life horse. And we work together a lot to try and come up with new sounds and work on them. It's very difficult to start with, because you're just making strange noises that don't sound like a horse, but it's just like a muscle really. So the more you practice it, the better the sounds are, and the easier they come.
Can you demonstrate that for us outside of the puppet?